Hey, you guys, this is Dr. Carmen Bryant, the host of Redefining Yourself. And this is my program, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. And so I was unable to film in my office because I have been up and going and on. And so I'm actually recording from the car. So I apologize, you guys, but I am coming on. I just wanted to, there was two questions that were asked of me. And one of the questions was in reference to what are my thoughts about the narcissist getting, I think it was from Mr. Michael, the narcissist getting a master's degree. And my thoughts about that are, number one, there are narcissists in all levels of education. You have narcissists that are in the education system. There are narcissists that are professors in the college system. You have narcissists that are in the legal system, in the medical field. You have narcissists that are in the mental health field. And I think you said that she is studying for her master's degree in counseling or in psychology. I can tell you now that there is many narcissistic therapists. And if you think about it, it's like narc-infested waters. We have become the big tuna, in the world of the sea. And here these therapists is narc-infested water. And so this is just for them, that is just ideal, because people come to them in counseling with broken hearts, and people open up to us as mental health professionals, and they pour out their hearts. They tell us their pain and their deepest hurts that they haven't been able to, we work very hard. Those of us that are not narcissists, we work very hard to gain the trust of patients or clients that come in to see us so that we can, work with their pain, help them through their situations. And they people open up to us. People that have never opened up to us before, open up to us and they talk to us. And so for a narcissist, and especially one that is going into the mental health field, that is like the ultimate fuel for them, because people that come to mental health trust the therapist knows what they're talking about. Trust the therapist, with their intimate thoughts and their vulnerabilities. And a narcissist will take that and remember, everything is about the narcissist. So even in the mental health field, if she's pursuing her master's degree and she's going to go into counseling, everything is going to be about her. Everything, and clients will come in and like, you're an awesome therapist. You're not an awesome therapist, Everybody's not going to like a therapist. Everybody doesn't like, us. And so, and especially when people are really, really hurt and they don't know how to trust. And so a narcissist, remember, if you look at all the details on how a narcissist is, they take a lot of time to get you to like them. They're very charming, and so it's the same way that they are in therapy. And so there are many, many, many clients that have to go seek counseling afterward because the narcissist will damage them. They'll make it worse because everything is about them. They want to be esteemed. They want to be, put on a pedestal. You're the greatest. And so for a client to finally gain enough strength to say, hey, this is not working. This is about you. This is not about me anymore. And some clients are afraid to speak up. But when a client and the narcissist will make sure that they elevate themselves to make themselves look like the smarter, the more educated. I'm the therapist. You're the client. But in actuality, really, a therapist learns from the client. And so when clients come in to see me, I don't know everything about you. I'm learning from you, and we are learning each other. You're learning my style of therapy, and I'm learning your issues and how you communicate and how you think. And so it is a relationship but a narcissist doesn't see it that way. It's all one-sided. It's about, I know it. I'm telling you what to do. This is how you do it. And a lot of clients are afraid. And so sometimes they won't show up anymore. And then the therapist will come and hound them, or make them feel bad about leaving, and sometimes it's about the money. And so that is my answer to that, Mr. Michael. And then there's another question that was asked in reference to, I think it was bipolar and narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder. Well, each one of them have similar features. And if you look at the bipolar disorder, and a lot of times people try to look into the book and try to figure it out, but a person that's trained in psychology, psychiatry, mental health, we go through a practicum and we go through internship. And so we try to, but we learn what these disorders look like. Sometimes people don't deal with them like marriage and family therapists. Not all the time do they deal with the more serious or severe mental health disorders. Those that are in the mental health field and they're doing the counseling portion, the psychotherapy part. And I'm not saying all therapists, don't learn, but when you're more into the severe mental health disorders, you get to see what each disorder looks like. Bipolar, and I said this in another video dealing with mental health, bipolar, borderline, and ADHD look very similar, and narcissism may look the same. Remember that ADHD is a chemical imbalance. It's between the attention. It's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So there's a chemical imbalance there. Bipolar disorder is a mood disorder. It's still a chemical imbalance, treated with medications and therapy. And remember, I talked about the other day that we live on a polar, and so you have major depressive disorder and dysthymia. I can't recall which one comes first. I think it's dysthymia and major depressive disorder, and then you go back up the polar, then you have cyclothymia, I think, or cyclothymia is down at the bottom, but you have hypomania and mania, and most people with bipolar disorder prefer to stay in the manic and a mania, or in the manic, because it feels good. They have a lot of energy. They feel you'll see the symptoms of narcissism, the grandiosity. You'll see, they're better than most people. They can do more than anybody. They're more educated. They have all these wonderful plans. And so you'll see symptoms that look very similar to narcissism. And so if you don't know that the person is in a hypomanic episode, you may accidentally misdiagnosed as being narcissistic or bipolar most of the time. And I think when I was watching the documentary on Ted Bundy, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder because it appeared as though he was in a manic episode. That grandiosity, that sense of entitlement, making large purchases, everything is really, really fast. They have a lot of energy. They talk really, really fast. They call people in the middle of the night, or they go and they start doing these big projects at night, and they talk fast, and they talk a lot about their business, or all of a sudden you see all these text messages coming back to back to back to back to back to back, and you're like, oh my gosh, this person, what is wrong with this person? Well, a narcissist, a person with bipolar, there comes a time when they come back out of the hypomanic or manic episode, and then they slowly go down to a major depressive disorder. And so you'll see some of the symptoms that look very similar to narcissism kind of dissipate. While narcissists, you'll never see it change. They're always like that. They always have a sense of entitlement. They always have this grandiose thinking. So that you see, that seems to be symptoms of narcissism in bipolar when they're in the manic episode or mania, this is a constant thing for a narcissist. But for bipolar clients, usually you'll see it, but then when they drop again, when they start dropping again, or they drop severely again, then you'll see the major depression. They don't have the energy. They don't want to do anything. They cannot get up and clean. They can't get up and personal hygiene. They don't have. So most of the time with people with bipolar disorder, they don't kill themselves or they don't commit suicide in the depressive stage because they don't have the energy to do it. You'll find them committing suicide in the hypomanic or in the manic episode. People with borderline, for example, you'll see all those symptoms, and that is a personality disorder, but you'll see them with all those symptoms, and it's really fast. And medication, normally they have to give medication, but a lot of time the medication that you use for bipolar may not work for those on borderline. That's why people with borderline personality disorder, it's very complicated for med providers to provide them with medication because they're very, very unstable. Well, for a narcissist, you can't change a personality disorder. This is how they are at all times. And so those symptoms that look like bipolar, they're like this at all times. It is a character flaw. It is a part of their character, is a part of their personality. It doesn't change. So there's no medication that's going to change it. But remember, I told you before, narcissists can have comorbidity. There we go. Can have other diagnoses. They can have bipolar at the same time. And so when you see those symptoms, and they love it because they like that, that adds to their grandiosity. It adds to their that self-inflation and that grandiose thinking, and so it adds to it and it kind of fuels it. It's almost like narcissism on steroid if they're bipolar, and then of course they drop to the depressive stage. But that personality, that characteristics, those traits of a narcissist, that they actually have narcissism, that will never change. That's a constant thing with them. And then remember, you have a narcissist that may have borderline, bipolar disorder, major depressive disorder, ADHD, we talked about that before, anxiety. A lot of them have post-traumatic stress. And so this is what it looks like. And hopefully I answered that question. But that is for the bipolar versus the narcissistic personality disorder, and or if a narcissist actually has bipolar disorder. And so hopefully that answered your question. I know I did not stay on very long. If you have any questions, I know that I wouldn't be able to make a video a little later, but hopefully that answered some question. You got to remember, there was another thing I wanted to add to this too. Closure. Narcissists do not like to give closure. You'll never get closure with a narcissist. It's like going scuba diving. So those of you that like diving, and those of you that are around bodies of water and love water and diving, scuba diving, you're trained to breathe out of that apparatus. And there's so many feet that you can go with, so many pounds of oxygen, or I'm not sure how it works, but it's like going scuba diving. They're like, okay, you can do it. The narcissist is telling you, go deeper. Go deeper, go deeper. And you're like, okay, I'm going to trust you, and we're going to go deep. And then you go deep, and you're trying to get beyond those fears, and you get into the deep part of the water, and you're down there and like, touch the sand, do this. And then all of a sudden they just take the mask off your face. And all of a sudden you're thrashing around, you're afraid, you start having anxiety, and you're trying to make it back up to the top. And so that feeling of anxiety, oh my gosh, you're going to die. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is it nitrogen buildup in the system? I'm not sure if that's correct, but is that nitrogen, or is it I don't know what it is that builds up in the body where you're not supposed to go up to the surface too fast. If you go up too fast, it can kill you. And so they have to put you in some kind of oxygen chamber to bring the gases within the blood back down or something like that. Well, just imagine that's how a narcissist operates. They like to take you to the deep parts to cause you to be vulnerable and make you depend on them, and then pull the mask off of your face. And so many of you are suffering from post-traumatic stress, and a lot of you have been discarded. And I can tell by the emails that you're sending me and the things that you're saying, I can tell that the mask has been pulled off. And so you're flaring around, and you're looking for oxygen or mask. You're wanting closures. They're not going to give you closure. They refuse. They will never give you closure. You have to find your own closure. A narcissist is not going to give you closure, because to them, to watch you thrash around looking for an oxygen tank or the one that they have, they want you to come look for the one that's in their hand. They want you, and they love to see it because it empowers them. It empowers them to see you struggle. It empowers them to see you, beg and ask what's wrong and what happened and what did I do. And you're trying to grab for that oxygen mask that's in their hand. They like that. To them, that brings them fuel. It fuels them and makes them feel empowered. And so this is what it's like, when it comes to the closure part, or the mask being ripped off of your face. You have to find your own closure. You have to understand that this individual doesn't even have closure with their own self. Everywhere they go is like open doors. You got all these open doors. Like, imagine coming in your house and all the cabinets are open. You're like, what in the world? Who's going to live like this with the cabinets all open? That's how they live, with all the cabinets and all the doors open to all these human beings, all these people. All the doors are open so they can go back in, come out, go back in, come out. And that's how they live. That's how they think. So hopefully this has helped you. I know it's not a long video. I knew I wasn't going to be able to come on later on to record another video, but hopefully this did answer your question. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have not already, please subscribe. If you have not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. I also, please hit the bell. So when you subscribe, hit the bell, so that whenever I load new videos, you see the new videos. I usually post from Tuesday to Thursday, and on Sundays I usually come on between 8 and 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, so it's West Coast time. So those of you California side, this is the West Coast side of the house. And so I usually come on at 8, 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I also have a Facebook page, which is Psychological Health Consultants and Services. Hit the thumbs up, because I do post the videos on both pages. And thank you guys so much for supporting me. Thank you for all the emails. My coaching services are now available. I'm going to put a link in there with my email address. I am building a site that'll be specifically dedicated to the coaching, so that you can go to the site. If you need information on my coaching services, I will send you the package deals. It is a great investment, and you can, you always check around and see what the success rate is of an individual. You're welcome to look me up. You'll see that I am credentialed. And thank you guys so much for your inquiries. I will send you information. I will send you package. And thank you guys who have contacted me and are beginning work with me. I am so excited, and I am so excited about your future and the progress and your healing. I can't wait because you guys are great. You're created to be great. You're going to be great. Remember, you got to find your own closure. They're not going to give you closure. And you can take it. I just said this today to someone. It's a curse and a blessing in disguise. The curse of the fact that you're dealing with a person you didn't know anything about, and they try so hard to ruin you and damage you. The blessing behind it is that they will force you into finding out your strength. They'll force you into standing up again. They can force you, with their antics and all the horrible things they did. You can find your strength, and you will find your strength. You will find your strength. You're stronger than what you believe. And thank you guys once again for tuning in. And as my friend always says, go and be great. And I mean that.